My name is Donald Frazier. I'm the CEO with Boss, and this is Boss Talks with Lonnie Morris.
How you doing, Donald? Good to see you.
I'm doing good, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Right on. Me too. Me too. So, I said a little earlier, man, like where do we start, brother? And in our conversation, just in terms of how we met and our relationship. So why don't you take that one?
Yeah, that's fine. So, it's interesting because I was thinking about this the other night when we had been talking about having these boss talks, and I've been thinking for a minute about how we met and what that meant, right? So you came into San Quentin, and I don't want to go into the years because my memory cards fade me, but about 8, 9 years ago with Keith Carson. And what impressed me most about you was you were really quiet, really observant. A lot of people come in, they just jump in and chatting and all that stuff. And then they also want to talk what they do, right? But what I noticed about you, you were quiet, you were real observant, laid back, and you didn't get up talking a lot about what boss is and I'm this and I'm that. And then we had a conversation after the workshop that you came to, and actually it was a graduation that you came to. We had a conversation after that. And the thing that impressed me the most, because I was going to try to get out of prison, and you said to me, bruh, when you get out, come check in with me, and I got a job, and I'll support you in whatever way you need support. And I was like, bro, I'm gonna hold you to that. And you said, right on, brother, and I got you, right? And then you came in a few more times, we constantly talked on the phone, and then once I got my date and was getting prepared to be released from prison after 44 years, I had to call you when they told me I was changing my parole residence. I had to move from Oakland, which you guys had helped set up a job and an apartment for me, and I had to move my residence to San Rafael.
Right.
And I had to call you. It's crazy because the regional director of the parole department asked me, did I have anybody to call? And I was like, well, I don't know. And then he was like, well, we can't help you find those places to stay, so you need to find somebody. And you came to my mind because I remember what you had said to me, years ago about, bruh, I got you, right? And so I called you. And I remembered, and this was solidified for me, our relationship, was I called you, and immediately after I said, Donald, they telling me I can't get out if I don't find another residence, and I need someplace to go. And you said, bruh, can you call me back in 15, 20 minutes? I said, yeah. And you said, let me check into it. I called you back, and you said, I got you a spot. And that spot was in Marin at Centerpoint. And that was like, man, it lifted a weight off my shoulder because I'm thinking I'm gonna have to be in prison another 2 or 3 weeks because I ain't got no place to go. And you came through, man. And after that, I was like, that's my folks there. So that's how that kind of happened, the start of it.
Right on, man. And my part of it, man, and you're right, Keith invited us in. He does it with a lot of folks. So he takes contingents of folks into San Quentin. And he had asked me, and you right, about 8 years ago. And I said, of course, man, let's go. And what I was impressed with was the work that you were doing inside of San Quentin, brother, with No More Tears. And I sat through that whole workshop, man. I'm telling you, brother, I was moved. And that whole restorative justice piece, but y'all do it in a way, man, where it's just powerful, brother. And so I was definitely impressed. And I remember telling you, man, if you want to do, you had told me that you always wanted your dream is to take No More Tears on the outside. Because how long have you been doing it inside San Quentin?
Man, so No More Tears has been in existence for 22 years now.
Right.
We started in San Quentin in 2001. 2001. So a little longer, 22 years now. But it's crazy because the foundation of No More Tears came out of me being in the prison and all these young guys coming in from Oakland and San Francisco. And I was on what you call, a lot of people won't understand this because they don't know about how prison's set up, but I was in this place called North Block, and I was on the first tier, and they had this thing called Broadway, which is where they literally put people on bunk beds on the tier. Right. No covering, no honor, nothing. They just had to live there, 2 to a bunk, right? And they have like 70, 80 dudes, and they slept right across from me in my cell. And what I used to do when young brothers would come into the prison to get them to start conversations was what I would do with them is to let them watch my TV, sports, CMC. At that time, CMC was all the rage. That's the only music channel we can get with some girls in it, right? So we watching CMC, but I'd open my door to them. I say, bruh, y'all can do all this. A couple things you can't do. Can't be using the N-word. Can't be talking about women in no negative way, calling them a bunch of bees and hoes and all that. You can't do that, right? And we gotta have some PE, what we call political education, right? And we gotta have some of that during the course of y'all watching these games and everything. And they agreed to it, man. And what I found was that many of these young brothers knew exactly what was going on in the streets. They knew who was shooting who, they knew who was selling the drugs, and they would literally be in my cell. We watch the news sometimes because they always was hungry for the news, and they were like, oh man, that's little Johnny, man. He got shot because he was messing with dude's girl or whatever the deal was, right? And I was like, oh, so these dudes, and a lot of these dudes do what you call violations,
Right.
and which means they're gonna be out in 6 months to a year. And I'm like, oh, so these cats going back to the street, they got this ear to the street, I call it, they in the mud as we call it now, they doing their thing. So if I can cultivate in them a relationship, maybe I can influence them to do something different with their life, which was the genesis of No More Tears, was, man, change yourself, change your family, right? And then change your hood. So that's how they came about. And I started really working with these young brothers. We created a curriculum, and then we started doing workshops. And what you came into, that workshop you came into was like the culmination of a bunch of workshops we had done in the past. But it really started with, like I said, these young brothers telling me about the stuff that was going on in the hood, and me realizing that these young brothers going back to the street, and if we can get them to start thinking about how they live in, the violence they're a part of, or that's influencing their lives, we can change their lives, and if we can change their lives, we can change our communities.
Right on, man. And you touched a lot of brothers, man. I know when Shaheed got out, he went to another spot, but he ended up with us.
Yep.
So Shaheed was the very first No More Tears.
Exactly,
that
Floyd.
came in.
Yes.
And then I forget how it went, man, but I know Ricky came.
Ricky, yep.
I know, folks just started coming, man, which is a beautiful thing.
Yep.
But I had met them all when I went into San Quentin. I was coming up in there, it seemed like once a month with
Yeah, exactly. Y'all came about once a month, yeah.
And that was beautiful, man. So right now, though, man, what you want to do with No More Tears, man, now that you're out?
Well, man, it's interesting. I had kind of thought that when I was inside, when you're in prison, you get a perception of everything that's filtered. And so you don't get a clean, clear perception of what's going on. So everything you get is second, third hand, right? But you have a tendency to think that you're actually getting an accurate picture of what's going on, right? Because people coming in, they telling you stuff, and your imagination is like filling in the blanks, and you thinking that, oh, this is what it is. So what I found out when I got out of prison, that No More Tears on the inside was really, really, we ran like a well-oiled machine. But out here in the community, it wasn't running that well. Mick was really, really taking on the burden of doing most of the work. Mick Gardner, who is our executive director, was doing a lot of the work, and then our volunteers, we're a volunteer-ran organization, and so our volunteers were doing what they can, but they're volunteers.
Right.
And so when I got out, I realized that we got to do a couple of things. Got to raise some money, because we got to get some paid staff. And because without paid staff, your workload is always going to be suspect. Volunteers don't have to do anything if they don't want to. And we've had some good volunteers who've done a lot of things, but for me, it was mandatory that we get some paid staff, part-time, full-time, whatever we could afford. So that's what we've been doing. Right now we have 6 part-time paid staff. We're doing restorative practice healing circles in the community. We still go inside the prison twice a week, Tuesdays and Saturdays, doing workshops. And we go to Oakland Tech and work with them. We have a partnership with San Francisco USF with a CA program, a Community Empowerment Activist Program, where we get interns from them, and we train those interns up in the fields they're trying to pursue. So we're doing a lot of different things in those areas, man, just trying to really get ourselves anchored in the community and also finding the funding to sustain our work.
Right on, brother. I mean, you also co-located with Boss.
Yes, we do.
At our Wellness Empowerment and Resiliency Campus at Eastmont Town Center.
Yeah, we got an office here that you and Boss were gracious enough to give us. And that's one of the things that we've really been looking for was an actual office space where we could come and do our work. Right. Space, yeah.
Yeah, we want you to win, man.
Yeah. Yes.
So look, man, I'll say this. And I think we probably coming from the same perspective, right? So I've been in this game for about 30 plus years, right? And say the first part of my life, man, I grew up in Chicago, and we used to talk all the time. But the first part of my life, man, was upside down, right? And just involved in the game, just running. And I dedicated this last part of my life, the second half of my life, so probably about 30, 35 years right now, on the other side of things, just trying to create an environment for folks, man, to learn, to grow, to win, right? And primarily looking at folks who are incarcerated, and how do we kind of prepare a space for them, and man, so they could come out, and certainly, man, to a space where they're accepted, right, and feel like they belong here, right, and then create opportunities, right. That's my mission, and so we created this wellness, empowerment, and resiliency campus based on some other work that we started, right, and I'll say this real quick. It goes back to San Diego for me, when we opened up our in-prison substance abuse treatment program at R.J. Donovan in 1990. I was with Amity at the time, and look, man, it was an amazing thing because nothing was happening. Nothing like that was happening on the yard, right? They pulled a trailer on the yard and started doing these services. From that day on, man, I dedicated my life to this work and really around focusing on formerly incarcerated folks, man. And today, we have this comprehensive process, what I call it a multidisciplinary forensic model, where we have our clinical services, we have employment, education, housing, and a host of other things, all designed for folks who are getting out of prison or jail, for them to have opportunities, man. And that's how we build opportunities for self-sufficiency. But having said that, man, I want to just kind of elevate No More Tears, man, because, and folks need to know that this is a program that was successful inside of San Quentin for decades. Yeah. Almost a decade and a half, or maybe a couple of decades.
22 years.
22
years. Decades, yeah. Yeah. Because I think one of the things that we've always been anchored in, that when we started this organization, it was started by incarcerated men. Now, I came with the idea, the vision for it, but then I brought on a cross-section of it. So one of the things we really focused on, bro, and I think some people are doing this out here in the communities and some are not, and some doing it to different degrees better than others. Was we focused on the people that was in the mess. Cats, we didn't want, so most of the programs in prison try to focus on what we call the programmers. These are dudes that's going to program, they in every program there is. I'm in this group, I'm in that group. So every group wants those guys because it helps their success rate. We focus on the non-programmers. We wanted the dudes hanging out in the yard, smoking the weed, shooting dice, playing basketball, getting in fights, stabbings, whatever. We don't care. And we wanted what we call shot callers. So they call them out here influencers on the internet, but we want the shot callers. I don't want the dude, I'm trying to be a follower. No, I want the dude that's leading, because guess what? When something go down, the dude that's leading is going to be the one that can influence what's going to happen next. The dude that's following, he can't do them but take some orders. So our thing was, bro, let's get the cats in there to lead. And so we surrounded ourselves with what they call in the prison shot callers. So that whenever funk came up, and it often came up in prison, we had people we could go to, whether it was black, white, Mexican, other, across the board. We had people that we could go to and say, hey, man, this is the problem, or this is the issue. The dudes getting ready to stab each other about or beat each other up about, how do we resolve it? And so then we worked through that. And sometimes we had to pay debts, Dude might owe a dude $100 for you got some dope on consignment or whatever, gambling or whatever the debt might be. And we pay that debt. See what I'm saying? Because again, if it was a black dude or a white dude, that's gonna lead to violence. See what I'm saying? So we say to the white dude, hey man, hold up, we'll pay the debt and we'll deal with the black dude. Whatever kind of discipline we meet out, let us handle that. You got your money, now get out the way. That's the way we handle our business. And so bringing that out here to the streets, we're learning that there's a similar way you can do some of that stuff out here. Obviously, you got to be a little more strategic in how you move out here, because people got guns and they be tripping much harder. They got knives in there, but you got to get up and close with somebody to stab them. You can't stab them at a distance. You know what I'm saying? So we always try to move strategically. And our goal now is to continue to cultivate those guys who are coming out, because we have a reentry program where we bring guys out, we pick them up at the gate, we take them to breakfast, we take them shopping, we connect them with our family. We just had a dude came out 2 weeks ago, and we had to take him all the way down to San Jose. It was a 12-hour day because we was with him all day up here shopping, visiting his family and stuff, and then we had to drive him down to San Jose and put him in a transitional house. He calls me, he texts me every day, he calls me at least 2 or 3 times a week just to check in and, let me know how he doing. Those are the kind of people that you can then utilize because these are hood cats straight out of Oakland, right? They just sent him to San Jose because of some parole politics, right? But them the kind of people you can utilize to say, man, let's go back to your hood, talk to your folks, and let's try to change and ameliorate some of the issues that we're dealing with. So that's how we work, man.
Right. So you find it, so obviously when you work in a prison, man, you got the whole infrastructure, not just of the prison, but you got volunteers that come in there.
Right.
You got folks who want to volunteer, folks who are part of the program who helping you get the work done while you're in there. But tell me about some of the challenges you have on the outside trying to set this up, man, and really create something meaningful.
Yeah. So that's interesting because some of the challenges aren't the normal challenge. Obviously money, bro. I tell everybody always asks me that question. What's some of your challenges? What you trying to Money is the biggest challenge because you can't do nothing without money. The bills is real. I tell people all the time, man, the bills is real. Right. I got to pay mine every month, sometimes every week, right? And so cats coming out, they need support. And it ain't just the initial support, buy you the clothes, buy you this, that. Because dude called us, prime example, we get a dude out, we buy him a phone, we pay the phone for a month. Guess what? His phone bill come up next month, he call us and say, hey, my phone gonna die, they turn it off because I got it. Bruh, we can't pay your phone bill every month. You see what I'm saying? Our goal is to get you on your feet, to get you on the pathway to getting on your feet, and then surround you with support and service like what Boss provides, and then allow you to move into a stabilized situation. But we can't manage your life.
Right.
So what we do in terms of the challenges is finding the kind of resources where we can connect the guy that needs these kind of ongoing services, connect him so he can surely get him till he can get on his feet. Because the reality is that everybody don't move at the same pace.
Right.
Some dudes come out, they hit the streets running. Some dudes already got resources. Some dudes want to come out and I just want to kick back because I'm nervous about the whole world. I've been in prison 20, 30 years. The little brother I'm just talking about that got out, man, he was shook about everything. He in the store looking around. They gave him a fork to eat with, like, oh, this is a big old fork, and all that. He was going, I was like, bro, your ass is out now. You ain't gotta be tripping off all that stuff. You're free. You can actually have a fork in your hand. You can have a knife in your hand, right? You know what I'm saying? Well, if you're on parole, as long as you're eating at the table with it, you can't be having no knives, you ain't. But so that kind of thing, just helping guys acclimate themselves, right? Yeah. And so that's one of the other challenges is like me right now, I'm trying to figure out, because I provide direct services. Even though I'm the founder of No More Tears and I'm the president of No More Tears, I'm literally driving dudes around from probation officer to parole officer to transitional housing and all that stuff, right? So one of the challenges is finding people, which we have some, but finding the funds to pay the people that they can do that. I want some of our returned citizens, because we got a policy, we do not ask returned citizens to do things for free. A lot of people want them to come speak here, come do this, come do that. It got me like that for about a year and a half until I wised up. You running me all over the Bay Area and sometimes down to San Jose and other places for speaking engagements, events you're having. But the reality is, I got to pay for all of it. So now we're saying that, hey man, in the future, we want guys to be able to get compensated, whether they telling their stories, you know what I'm saying, whether they showing up for speaking engagements, whether they just showing up to support what you're doing. There should be some compensation for these guys.
No, absolutely, brother. That's a must-have. So in terms of being connected with foundations and some of these county and city systems, are you connected with anybody for support? I mean, because like you said in the beginning, man, you need bills is real.
Yep. So we have support again, obviously from Boss. You guys, we do subcontract with you guys, and you guys. I'll just say this, Donald, straight out, that the most supportive organization and or persons that have been supportive of No More Tears since I've been home and before I came home was Boss and you. So I want to say that, and I'm not saying it because we're in your space, and then I'm saying it because it's real. So that's been the most support. We also have broadband support from Keith Carson's office. So Keith has been really, really supportive. So we have a contract with the county to provide services. I think it's EV 2026 or something. I forget these numbers. But we have a contract with them. We do story healing circles with them. We do other youth. We have youth that we work with. I just took 2 youth driving yesterday. Day before yesterday, and because they're getting ready for their driver's test. So we have some supported services. We also are trying to work with the probation department of Alameda County when negotiating with them about a contract we might be able to sign. So we have a few little supported services, mostly Boss and Alameda County. I'm probably forgetting somebody. Right. And then we've also had support from Silicon Valley. They gave us a decent amount of money, which was really, really good to help us move in terms of doing more with our reentry services.
Because I think organizations like yours, brother, is we talk a lot about violence prevention and intervention in the street, right? We got the Department of Violence Prevention in the city of Oakland. Right. New chief, Holly Joshi, tremendous woman. Really, Dr. Joshi is, I think she's going to do well. Okay. But she needs the support of the people.
Right.
And more than that, who's connected to the streets? Who's connected to the folks? Like No More Tears, like you're talking about, returning citizens created this thing. Now on the outside, dealing with folks who are returning to the community. Right. In essence, trying to help them not go back to,
well, not only not go back, but to actually contribute to society and contribute to their communities. Because the thing is this, what we tell people, we got is the give back concept. Right. So we give to you, you give back to the community. You see what I'm saying? So that you don't just think, bro, I'm out here, just give me, right? I need. Bro, you got, whether you have money, it ain't got to be money, but you got knowledge, right? Yeah. You got lived experiences.
Well, that's for folks who are willing to give, right? So I'm saying, like, when you were in prison, you said, hey, listen, man, we won't, folks out here call them high risk, right? But you said, oh, listen, I want the hitters. I want to deal with the folks who are the shot callers, right? So on the outside, the question is, how do you, look, the piece about, that's real for us on the violence prevention side is, so we could do a lot of community healing work. We could do a lot of transitional housing work. We could do a lot of gender-based violence work. And that's kind of like I'm talking to you and I'm we're having this conversation. But the folks who are out there in it are not coming to have that conversation. They're not coming to access services, right? Because they're in
That's
it.
Right. That's correct.
And so, how do you create that link to the folks? Not with no stress on it, right? Nothing. But how do we build those relationships with these brothers and sisters, man? Right. Just to try to help them see something different.
So a friend of mine, Bobby Dean Evans, we call him Black. He has what I think is a universal saying, and it should be applied across the board if you're going to be doing this kind of work. And he says, nobody cares how much you know till they know how much you care, right? And I think the difficulty we have is showing those folks you're talking about in the streets how much we care. It's easy to come down to the block and say, hey, brother, let me talk to y'all. Y'all need to do da. Come over here and access these services. But that ain't what people feeling. You know what I'm saying? Cats like me, because I was a hood cat straight up, and still am a hood cat, I just don't do crime no more. But cats like me, I don't care about all that, right? Because I think when you come down to my hood talking this talk, I think you're faking. Youngsters used to tell me, even inside, well, you just want us to come to the group so we can get some money. I said, what? Get some money? Where the hell am I gonna get some money? They won't even let me get no money. They can't even pay me for my services. So, bro, it can't be no money I'm after, right? But I would literally go down to the yard, build relationships with the young brothers. I go down and play dominoes, pinochle, basketball, whatever. I do it now. I build relationships. So before you start asking people to do stuff, you need to have a relationship with them people. Right. So you build a relationship, and then that allows you to go down on the block and talk to people. Because when they say, "Oh, that's brother Lonnie, he cool. That's Donald, he cool," right? And they give you that, okay, all right, he can come. I was right down there on 10th and Center a while back, kicking it with my little homeboy, and they just had a shootout right down there in the area a couple of weeks ago. I just found that out the other day, right? But a month before that, I was right down in that same little spot, right? Kicking it with my folks, and I got to try to check on now and make sure he didn't get shot because that's his little crew, right? But the point is, I could go down there because I had a relationship with him. So when I came and popped out the car, that's my folks, he good, right? So if I'd have just popped out the car, just, hey, brothers, I might have got whacked or something, right?
Right.
So it's the relationship building, bro, that's really important.
Absolutely.
And that takes time and it takes sincerity. One thing about people in the streets, bro, they peep game real quick.
Yeah.
They antenna for BS is high. So they already know you real one or you ain't a real one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Relationships is the important thing, man. I know when I came to Oakland to do this work, man, I know being from Chicago, if you're not from a certain hood, man, you can't go there, man.
Exactly.
And so I don't care how sincere you are. So knowing that, I recruited some folks who are from Oakland, man. It just helped for them to save their own community, man.
Right.
And that's how I operate here. But the question is, still, like there's levels to this. So there's a relationship part, right? Then there's still an understanding of why people do what they do, right? And if it's for income, it's somebody called a feeling, whatever the case may be. But there's levels to this. There's like in the moment right now, right? And whether it's the relationship building that's happening right now. And then there's levels to things, right? People need money, man. People got to pay their bills, or they just need money to buy stuff.
Exactly.
Then there's then you go to the next level of how these systems were created, man. These conditions were created to really box people into a situation and a circumstance, right? And then the question is, okay, say somebody says, okay, man, I'm ready to do something different, and I'm gonna make some different choices. And what are we gonna hook them up with, right? How would we hook them up with anything, right? So even if they come to Boss, right, and we could, if they want a long path of creating mobility in their life, okay, a job.
Right.
And what is this human being qualified to do? And then that immediate job, if it's a living wage job paying, I don't know, $19 an hour or something, man, that's not gonna sustain them, right? So I think from my point of view, it has to be a regional approach, right? And it has to be a focused approach on many things and not just one thing. So
no, go ahead.
Yeah, so just getting back to what you do, like how are you connecting with other resources? Like when you're talking to these brothers who just got out or who are out there on the street, what kind of resources do you have like backing you up to help them move forward?
Well, I mean, it depends on what they're trying to do. But the first thing so I think resources is cool, Donald. I be just keeping it 100, as they say. I think resources is cool. But I know this, bro. I don't care. You could give a person in the hood that got a certain mindset $1 million. I mean, we could literally, if we and you had $1 million, we could walk down there, find them cats that be funking and say, hey, bro, here's a meal, right? And they'd be like, yeah. Now, we want you to, bro, we're going to give you this meal. We want you to change up how you live in, the stuff you doing, the stuff this is enough to get you out the game, blah, blah, blah. Guaranteed, I'd bet a nickel to a dollar that, bruh, 6 months from now, if they got any of the meal, you know what I'm saying, they still in the mix because it's a mindset. It's a belief, it's a value system. So when I was in the streets doing what I was doing, bruh, you could have came me with anything, it didn't matter. I was locked into the hood. I was locked into the street mentality. I believe that stuff. I bought it lock, stock, barrel, all of it. So my thing is, and I tell people this all the time, my thing is this, bro. You got to change people's mindset. And you got to start that with conversations, but you got to get them out. Everybody want to, like the youngster, my little partner was telling me not too long ago, because I was saying, man, I need y'all, I want to come down and talk to some of your folks. He said, listen, nah, we on the block. You come down there, he said, a lot of these dudes come down there, old dudes, they come down here talking that talk to us. Bro, I ain't listening to y'all. We said, yeah, OG, yeah. Bro, but I'm watching for the police. I'm watching for my bro. I'm watching for my ops. I ain't got time to really be listening to what you talking about, right? So the thing is, we got to move those cats that we have accessibility to, that relationship with, out of them spaces, and then start working on their mindset so they can start thinking about who they are, how they got to be who they are, and then if they want to do something different, who they want to be, and how did the pathway to get there. Because if we don't start that process, we just wasting a bunch of time.